Hey, Stoic warrior. In a world where everybody is loud, where everybody is rushing to prove something, explain something, defend something, you're about to learn the rarest skill of all, the power of strategic silence. People argue to be right. People speak to be seen. People explain themselves hoping they'll finally be understood. But a Stoic does something completely different. A Stoic understands that silence is intelligence. Silence is dignity. Silence is control. And most importantly, silence is power. Before we begin, I want to ask you for something. Not for me, but for the others who need this message and don't even know it yet. If you find truth in these words, if you feel strength rising inside you, then share this video, subscribe, and help this message reach someone who might be drowning in noise. Your simple action could be the moment that saves someone's peace. Now, let's go deeper, much deeper than most people ever dare to go. Because today we're not just talking about silence, we're exploring the kind of silence that rewires your life, restores your identity, and returns your power to where it belongs, within you. So take a breath, slow your mind, let the noise of the world fade away. This next moment is yours. Section 1. Why silence becomes power. The moment you stop explaining yourself, you've been taught your entire life to talk it out, to defend your name, to make them understand. But here is a truth that most people never learn. The more you explain yourself, the less people value your words. When you correct everything, when you justify everything, when you keep trying to show your heart to someone who refuses to see it, you aren't expressing strength. You're leaking power, bleeding energy, breaking your own peace. And here's the twist. The people you're trying hardest to explain yourself to are usually the ones who already decided to misunderstand you. So, when you go silent, not out of anger, not out of fear, but out of self-respect, your entire energy shifts. Your silence becomes a statement. I no longer negotiate my worth. And suddenly, people feel your absence more deeply than they ever listened to your words. They notice you stopped over-explaining. They notice you stopped chasing. They notice your energy withdrew. And that shift is the moment you take your power back. Section 2. Silence makes people reveal what their words were hiding. Sit with this for a moment. When you stop talking, people show who they really are. Talk fills the air with illusions. Words hide motives. Apologies disguise patterns. But silence removes the mask. When you stop giving attention to someone, you'll see if they valued you, or only valued what you gave them. When you stop initiating every conversation, you'll see who truly wants you in their life. When you stop explaining your boundaries, you'll see who respected you only when it benefited them. Silence is not passive. Silence is strategic observation. It allows you to see clearly without the fog of emotional noise. It allows you to recognize patterns instead of promises. It allows you to read truth that words try to hide. That is why the Stoics embraced silence, not as emptiness, but as vision. Section 3. The silence that makes them feel your absence. There is a silence that hurts people more than anger ever could. Not because you intended to hurt them, but because silence removes the illusion of control. When you argue, people feel powerful. When you justify, they feel important. When you beg for understanding, they feel superior. But when you go silent, when you detach, when you walk away without a dramatic speech. They're left alone with the truth of their actions. And that truth, it echoes louder than any words you could ever say. Section 4. The truth about closure, and why you never need to chase it again. Let's talk about something nearly everyone struggles with: closure. That final conversation you keep replaying in your head, that explanation you want, that moment of honesty you think will finally heal you. But here's the harsh truth. If someone truly cared, you would never have to beg for closure. People give closure easily when they respect you. They give silence when they don't. And the more you chase closure, the more you attach your healing to someone who already detached from you. That is why Stoics believed that begging for closure isn't a search for truth. It's an act of self-betrayal. Because deep down, you already know the truth. You're not looking for answers. You're looking for a softer way to accept the reality you already feel. Listen carefully. Your silence is the closure. Your silence means, I don't need explanations from people who couldn't respect me when they had access to me. Your silence means, I choose peace over validation. Your silence means, I walked away with my dignity, not my desperation. They don't owe you a final conversation, and you don't owe them another chance to hurt you. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you claim the moment you go quiet and let the past close itself. Section 5. The difference between weak silence and strong silence. There are two types of silence in this world: weak silence and strong silence. Weak silence is avoidance. It's fear. It's running away from confrontation. It's silence born from insecurity. But strong silence, that's a completely different force. Strong silence is intentional. It's controlled. It's rooted in self-awareness. Strong silence says, I choose not to waste words where they will not be valued. Strong silence says, I don't explain myself to chaos. Strong silence says, I refuse to be emotionally manipulated. People can feel the difference. Weak silence feels like disappearing. Strong silence feels like rising. Weak silence makes you smaller. Strong silence makes your presence heavier, even when you're gone. Weak silence is fear. Strong silence is mastery. The moment your silence becomes strong, people stop hearing quiet and start hearing confidence. Section 6. Silence as a weapon against manipulation. There is a type of silence that stops manipulators in their tracks. People who manipulate thrive on reaction. Your anger, your confusion, your emotional responses. They want you defending yourself. They want you chasing explanations. They want you demanding answers. Why? Because the moment you react, they control the emotional frame. But when you go silent, not the weak kind, not the passive kind, but the stoic kind, everything collapses for them. Your silence says, you don't get access to my emotions anymore. Your silence says, I'm not playing your game. Your silence says, you lost influence over me. And manipulators hate silence. Because silence forces them to face themselves. Silence removes the power they had. Silence exposes their intentions. When you respond with silence, you aren't avoiding the conflict. You're ending the war. You're refusing to participate in emotional chaos, and that refusal is devastating to people who depend on controlling you. So remember this: sometimes the strongest comeback is no comeback at all. Section 7. Silence during healing. How your soul speaks when your mouth doesn't. There is a kind of silence you only experience when you are healing. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's not noticeable to the world. But inside you, it changes everything. Healing silence sounds like, "I don't need to explain my pain." Healing silence sounds like, "I'm not forcing myself to move faster than I truly can." Healing silence sounds like, "My peace matters more than their apology." This silence is where you rediscover who you are without the noise of disappointment. It's where you meet yourself again. Your real self, not the version of you shaped by other people's opinions. Silence during healing is like stepping into a quiet room after living in a storm. You finally hear your own thoughts. You finally feel your own emotions. You finally recognize your own needs. This silence transforms you. It reconnects you with your strength. It purifies your mind from the expectations of others. And most importantly, it teaches you how to protect your peace before you speak, instead of after you break. Section 8. Silence. The reset button for your identity. There comes a moment in your life where silence is not just a choice. It becomes a rebirth. You stop talking. You stop explaining. You stop defending a version of yourself that no longer exists. And in that silence, you begin to rebuild. Not the old you, not the you that tolerated too much, trusted too deeply, or cared too loudly, but the new you, the grounded you, the you who finally knows your own worth. Silence creates space. Space to think, space to breathe, space to reevaluate who you are and what you deserve. You begin to see clearly who fed your soul and who drained it, who respected your presence and who only noticed your absence, who loved the real you and who loved the benefits of you. This clarity is not loud. It arrives quietly, like a sunrise after a long night. The Stoics believed that silence is where the self returns after being lost in the expectations of others, and they were right. Because every time you fall apart, silence is what brings you back together. Section 9. Why silence makes people respect you. More respect is a strange thing. You can't ask for it, you can't chase it, and the moment you beg for it, it disappears. But silence? Silence demands respect without ever asking for it. Here's why. People pay attention to what is rare. People value what is not easily available. People respect what is not constantly trying to prove itself. When you stop talking so much, your words gain weight. When you stop responding instantly, your time gains value. When you stop explaining yourself, your presence gains power. People respect silence because silence represents discipline, self-control, emotional maturity, boundaries, strength. Most people cannot stay silent even for a moment. Their mind races, their ego begs, their insecurities scream. But you're learning to master silence, and that separates you from the masses. Because when you speak less, what you do say becomes undeniable. Section 10. The psychology of why your silence affects them so deeply. Let's go deeper than philosophy. Let's talk psychology. Silence triggers the mind in ways words never can. Here's what happens when you go silent. 1. People begin to assume, or their mind fills the space with their own fears, guilt, or curiosity. 2. People begin to question themselves. Did I lose them? Did I go too far? Why aren't they reacting? 3. People begin to realize your value. Your absence creates a vacuum they can't ignore. 4. People begin to lose control. Your silence disrupts their expectations, their games, their habits. 5. People begin to fear losing access to you, not losing you, losing access to you. There's a difference. This is why your silence bothers them more than your words ever could. Words spark arguments. Silence sparks reflection. Words create conflict. Silence creates consequence. Words can be ignored. Silence cannot. Section 11. When silence becomes a weapon, use it carefully. Silence is powerful, but like any powerful tool, it must be used wisely. You don't use silence to punish. You don't use it to manipulate. You don't use it to play games. You use silence to protect yourself, to protect your mind, to protect your heart, to protect your boundaries, to protect your energy. When you withdraw your words intentionally, you're telling the world, my peace is not up for negotiation. That level of discipline requires wisdom, not anger, strength, not spite, control, not avoidance. So use silence like a sword, sharp when needed, but always guided by purpose, never pain. Section 12. The Stoic way of walking away without a sound. Stoics never slammed doors. They simply walked out of rooms where their soul was no longer safe. They didn't make speeches. They didn't write paragraphs. They didn't give dramatic goodbyes. They walked away quietly and let silence announce their departure. This is the highest level of self-respect, when you stop convincing and start choosing. Choosing peace, choosing discipline, choosing dignity, choosing yourself. When you walk away silently, you're not saying, I don't care. You're saying, I care too much to stay where I am not valued. This is how Stoics moved, calmly, quietly, with unwavering certainty. Not because they didn't feel, but because they refused to let their emotions be controlled by the wrong people. Section 13. Silence. The spiritual strength. Most people never develop. Most people think silence is empty, but silence is not emptiness. It is alignment. When the world goes quiet, when your phone stops buzzing, when your friendships shift, when the noise dies down, that is when your spirit becomes loud. Silence is where you meet yourself without distortion, without expectations, without masks. It's the place where the soul whispers truths you ignored while you were busy trying to be understood by the wrong people. Silence says, you are enough. Silence says, you don't need to chase what is already yours. Silence says, what is meant for you will not require you to beg. The Stoics believed that silence is the training ground for the spirit, the gym for the soul, the meditation for the mind. Because only in silence do you truly see what matters, what doesn't, and what you must let go. Section 14. Emotional detachment. The art of loving without losing yourself. Detachment is one of the most misunderstood ideas in the world. People think it means not caring, but real detachment is not the absence of emotion. It's the absence of enslavement to emotion. Detachment means I feel deeply, but my feelings do not control me. I love strongly, but I do not lose my identity in the process. I care sincerely, but I do not collapse when others fail to care back. Detachment allows you to give love freely, without begging for it in return. Detachment allows you to walk away from what disrespects your heart. Detachment is what makes your silence unshakable. Because you're no longer reacting from fear or insecurity. You're responding from clarity and self-worth. Most people cling because they are afraid of losing something, but the Stoic knows, anything you fear losing already has power over you. And so they detach, calmly, lovingly, wisely, in silence. Section 15. How silence builds. Unshakable confidence. There is a unique confidence that forms in silence, a confidence that noise can never create. When you stop needing to explain yourself, you begin trusting yourself. When you stop reacting to every emotion, you begin controlling your emotions. When you stop rushing to respond, you begin choosing your words with intention. This is how silent confidence grows, not through loud declarations, but through calm self-trust. Confidence doesn't sound like, "Listen to me." Confidence sounds like, "I don't need to prove anything." People can feel that energy. They can sense it without you saying a word. The quiet ones, the ones who observe, the ones who choose their battles wisely, those are the people others respect instinctively. Because confidence is not in the volume of your voice, but in the stability of your silence. Section 16. The final transformation. Becoming the Stoic who speaks with presence, not noise. At this point, you've learned something powerful. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to chase to be valued. You don't need to explain to be understood. When you embrace silence, the right people will feel your presence, and the wrong people will feel your absence. Both are gifts. Silence is how you protect your peace. Silence is how you reclaim your strength. Silence is how you rise above chaos. Silence is how you return to yourself. In your silence, you rediscover the truth. You are not here to convince anyone of your worth. You are here to embody it. Let the world misjudge you. Let people misunderstand you. Let the noise pass you by. Your dignity doesn't need an audience. Your peace doesn't need applause. Your growth doesn't need validation. Walk quietly. Walk intentionally. Walk with the power of someone who knows. Silence is not your weakness. Silence is your evolution. Take one deep breath and repeat these affirmations with me slowly, calmly, from your soul. My silence protects my peace. My silence reveals my strength. I do not chase anyone. I do not beg for understanding. I do not explain my worth. My silence speaks for me. My peace is mine. My silence is my power. If this message spoke to your heart today, if it reminded you of your strength, if it helped you take back even one piece of your power, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who's struggling, someone who's hurting, someone who needs to hear what you heard today. Your small act might change someone's path forever. And if you want more teachings like this, to grow stronger, calmer, and more unshakable, subscribe to this channel. Not for the algorithm, but for your evolution. Thank you for listening. Thank you for growing. Thank you for choosing silence and choosing yourself. Until next time, stay silent, stay strong, stay stoic.